When I first tuned into The Boys, long before Prime Video very kindly asked us to come up with some soup-themed videos for them, I was immediately blown away by the opening scene. One character in particular stood out. In the world of The Boys, you can't expect the Flash or Quicksilver or any other superpowered speedster to save you. Instead, the world's fastest man comes in the form of the A-Train, baby!
A-Train, baby!
But as we know, world's fastest man isn't strictly true. Unlike the other members of the Seven, like the Deep or Starlight or Black Noir, A-Train's powers are unique, and not because he can run at super fast speeds. No, A-Train's powers are unique because they can be quantified and used in a competitive sporting space. In a world of other speedsters, you can never be the world's fastest man for long. A-Train could be one of Vought International's most powerful players, but his place amongst them is surely the most vulnerable. With the next fastest man alive in the wings at every turn, ready to compete and steal the crown, the character is much more in line with that of a professional athlete than a superhero. As a world-class athlete, A-Train's story allows the show to explore the corrupting incentives that come with the sports industry. We delve into his career, his performance-enhancing drug abuse, and the pressures he faces under the spotlight as an athlete whose best is long behind him. Sooner or later, no one can escape their bad deeds. Not even the A-Train. Baby. The first time we meet A-Train, he's running through New York City at high-octane speeds in the hopes of stopping a bank robbery. I mean, there was no evidence of bank robbery that day, but why would he lie? It's here that he accidentally brushes past a civilian who was too distracted to notice that she was standing in the middle of the road.
She was a half step off the fucking curb.
And this is where A-Train meets his nemesis, the man that will cause him nothing but trouble and pain. Huey Campbell. We can't really discuss A-Train without discussing his nemesis Huey, and yeah, Huey is just as much A-Train's conniving nemesis as A-Train is to Huey, at least from A-Train's warped, self-centered perspective, that is. The audience's way into the show is Huey. He's the regular person we get to know who discovers the world of the boys, the large secret world of soup activity, the shady things Vought International is up to, yada yada yada. All of it starts with Huey. We see all the pain and torment that comes from Robin's death, as well as the frustration that is born out of the situation when Vought tries to sweep it under the rug. But that isn't how A-Train sees it. From A-Train's perspective, the first season of The Boys plays out a little differently. He accidentally runs into some girl, which really wasn't his fault in spite of the fact he had illegal drugs coursing through his veins impeding his decision making. Then when this girl's boyfriend isn't satisfied by A-Train's apology, I mean, really, what more can A-Train do? This random civilian has the audacity to try and uncover the secret that gives the speedster his edge to stay on top of the game. This guy, along with several others, blackmail A-Train's girlfriend, and rather than being concerned with her safety, A-Train is too busy looking at the bigger picture, like his reputation and lucrative career. Superhero stuff, right? Rather than do the right thing, he acquiesces to Homelander, murders Popclaw, and then threatens Huey using his father as leverage. Superhero stuff, right?
A-Train, baby!
In short, A-Train has lost touch with reality. He's a celebrity so obsessed with his own reputation and his sporting title that he has complete tunnel vision. He's unable to comprehend why Robin's death matters, or why a little person like Huey should have so much beef with him. In turn, when Huey and the boys strike back, he acts as if he had no part to play in these events. He simply sees himself as a victim. And I, for one, don't think Robin's death was an accident. A-Train simply will not tolerate anyone besmirching the good name of Billy Joel.
Don't you ever besmirch Billy Joel.
But how did he become so self-centered? I'd wager it has a lot to do with feeling like his position of power is unstable and always under attack. A-Train's superpowers are defined in a competitive sporting space just as much as they are valued for crime fighting. Unlike Starlight or the Deep, A-Train has competitors with the same super speed abilities, and it is easy to quantify who is faster. In episode 3, Get Some, A-Train is set to face off against Shockwave in a simple race that will make the winner and destroy the loser's career.
You know what Stifled told me? If I don't win, I'm out.
This is the thing A-Train spends all his time obsessing over.
Ma is looking down on us both right now.
A-Train's brother acts as a conduit for the audience to feel something for the soup. He's a considerate person who genuinely cares for his brother, and only wants to see him do well and give him a good life for their late mother's sake.
I'm not gonna sit here and watch you kill yourself.
He cares about his brother's life before his place as number one, something that A-Train finds incredibly irritating. He doesn't need love, he needs people to help him win. A-Train parallels real athletic stories of champions bitterly clinging to the top spot. In an even darker parallel, A-Train faces the same incentives from performance-enhancing drugs as many others have in the past. A-Train doesn't believe he can remain the fastest man alive without the use of the super steroid known as Compound V. He begins to become so reliant on Compound V that he ignores the fact it's destroying his bones and weakening his heart. Even when he thinks he's on top, the mere mention of the drug is enough to get him to bend to anyone's will.
You don't mind if I do this?
Yo, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Perhaps Butcher's summation that the soup's greatest weakness are
Their reputations.
is no more apt than with the A-Train. Translucent can walk around public bathrooms in the nip and never faces any backlash. Homelander can tank a plane and the whole thing will reliably be covered up. But A-Train's reputation constantly rests on his races, with stiff competition who seek to usurp him of his title of fastest man alive. His superpowers are incredible, and he could clearly do a lot of good in the world, but the fact remains. Being the second fastest man alive would mean no Seven, no lucrative deals, and no lavish celebrity life.
Nobody gets back at my age. I'm gonna be a freak show like Ben Johnson racing against horses.
We don't get to see him living it up like some of the other supes we meet in the series like Ezekiel. Almost all of his time is spent either training desperately to remain the fastest speedster, haphazardly covering up his bad deeds in sticky situations, and just generally having a bad day.
Since when do you guys run down stuff alone?
Trevor,
Yeah?
shut up.
The boys depict speedster supes in a way most recent adaptations have opted to avoid. In films like X-Men Days of Future Past and X-Men Apocalypse, a super fast character is often an excuse for a wonderfully flashy special effects sequence where the laws of physics are no problemo. Quicksilver and the Flash yank innocents left, right and centre. They never accidentally hurt anyone or crush them or give them shock from the sheer force.
Whiplash.
Of course, realism isn't the aim of the game when dealing with superheroes. None of those examples would be improved by making them more quote-unquote realistic, but it's an interesting conceit in The Boys. Super speed has consequences. You can't just go running willy-nilly on the streets of New York and not expect to rip someone apart when you bump into them. The fact that this happens so easily in the opening scenes of The Boys speaks volumes about how little regard A-Train has for people who don't directly affect his well-being.
I ran so fast through this bitch that I had swallowed one of her molars. Like a bug on the fucking freeway. Dude, that's nasty.
You're laughing.
Then again, he doesn't treat the people he is supposed to care about very well either.
I don't want to be some washed up B-squatter.
Like me?
Charlotte, aka Popclaw, and A-Train harbour a secret relationship. The two have known each other going right back to their time in the teenage superhero group Teenage Kicks, and seem to have stayed strong even as the speedster shot to fame and joined the Seven. Popclaw is a washed-up B-list superhero who ruined her career and tarnished her reputation with a history of drug abuse. It is probably for this reason that A-Train is embarrassed by her and downplays any hint of being in a relationship for the cameras.
A-Train, how you celebrating tonight? Any special girl?
Well, you know me. I'm always in the game, but I'm too fast to catch.
He constantly lies to her, pretending that he's spoken to Stifled and will soon take their relationship public, when in reality, he has no intention of doing so. Whilst Popclaw worries about A-Train, all A-Train worries about is himself. He proves that Popclaw is little more than an obstacle in his way when he coaxes information from her.
Like, I have to know who you told about Compound V.
And then murders her when it becomes clear that all she could do is ruin his reputation. Before A-Train kills Popclaw, he recalls their first date, and this demonstrates his warped view of morality. The Soup genuinely believes he's being kind by allowing her to reminisce and feel something happy before he deals with her. He sees it as a kindness, when really it's the cruelest stroke. Popclaw, who has trusted him literally to the end, cannot fathom what he has done to her, and merely asks,
Why?
He doesn't have an answer, because deep down he knows the truth is too horrible to face. So instead, A-Train looks to others to offload the blame. He keeps his hands clean in his own mind by blaming Huey for Popclaw's death.
God, man, that was an accident. Where the fuck is the V?
That accident had a name.
And what about Popclaw? She had a name too. Charlotte.
It acts as a convenient buffer for facing up to Robin's death too, using it to counteract any instance Huey brings it up. When Huey is put through trauma because of A-Train's actions, the speedster does not care one iota. He barely even remembers murdering Robin.
You want an autograph or something?
But when the shoe is on the other foot, A-Train feels so incredibly slighted, so frustrated with Huey, more than he has any right to be. Homelander, being the top dog, remains pretty calm when the going gets tough, only unleashing a hint of his rage underneath the surface when he really needs to.
You stay the fuck back or I'll laser you, goddammit! I'll laser every fucking one of you!
But push A-Train just a little bit, and he does not hesitate to use every opportunity to inflict torment.
You try anything, I can catch up to dear old daddy in a millisecond.
He seems to get playful with his taunts.
What I got?
Special 2016 Comic-Con edition?
He revels in mocking people like Huey, and it clearly satiates his ego.
I'm gonna burst on like a fucking pinata, do you understand me? Just like I did your girlfriend.
Perhaps this is because, unlike Homelander, he isn't the top dog. In fact, his days in the Seven are numbered. To his mind, if he doesn't keep using Compound V to maintain his edge, it's only a matter of time before he'll be replaced. There's no denying A-Train is a pretty bad dude, but that doesn't mean it is impossible to feel sympathy for him. The boys' corner's what made Game of Thrones once so magical and engrossing. It takes absolutely reprehensible villains and adds layers of complexity and humanity to swipe the rug out from under our feet. Most of the Seven are shown to be trapped under the same structures of power that keep the regular humans of this world in check too. As with the women of the boys, such as Starlight and Queen Maeve, intersectional prejudice still rears its ugly head for A-Train in spite of his wealth, power and celebrity. When he's recovering from his leg wound at the hands of Kimiko, A-Train goes shopping in civilian clothing. You might have noticed that aside from Annie, the show spends very little time with the heroes in plain clothes. This is by design. When A-Train finally shows us a glimpse of what was once his civilian alter ego, it is a pivotal moment.
Can I help you?
I'm just keeping an eye out.
That's funny. It really looks like you're only keeping an eye on me.
A-Train, in plain clothes, is no longer treated like royalty. He's profiled by mall security when he's minding his own business. And that's not the only time A-Train's identity as a black man comes into conflict with his identity as a superhero.
And when I was 3, it's like these guys started shooting in front of my building and I outran the damn bullet. That's kind of how I figured out.
Can I stop you right there for a second? What if we ixnay the gun violence, maybe make it a click more upbeat?
It's rare for A-Train to tell the truth, but this affecting and powerful story not only highlights the good heart he once had, but exposes the hard reality his brother and he faced. But this just isn't considered family viewing for the folks at home, so Vought forces him to cut it. We're reminded that even though the A-Train we meet in the show is a liar and a deceiver, it's behaviour that has been drummed into him from the moment he became bought and paid for by Vought International. Even when he attempts to be honest, those parts of himself which are truly admirable are shot down. It's no wonder his reliance on Compound V is killing him. Arguably challenged only by the Deep, A-Train is the Seven's biggest buffoon.
Like, I tell you what, you get better and I'll teach you to run as fast as me.
Yeah?
Yeah?
You'll teach me to outrun cancer?
But on the flip side, the only reason he fails so spectacularly here is because he's nowhere near as good of a liar as his fellow teammates. The earnest way in which he delivers his origin story proves, in some small way, that a more honest and thoughtful person exists in there somewhere, before he got swept up in the competition and the cash. There's a deep sadness to this person.
I made a mistake! The shit that you did was on purpose!
I mean, he's wrong, completely. Sure, Huey and the boys have consciously acted against A-Train and Vought, but to suggest that the circumstances of Popclaw's death were in any way similar to Robin is farcical. A-Train has a habit of feeling backed into corners, deciding that his choices have already been made, doing the worst thing imaginable like killing the person he claims to love, and at the end of it all, he walks up to the person he wronged in the first place, only to inform him that they're no different, that he wronged him just as much. A-Train is delusional, and you only need to look so far as his teammate Starlight to see this.
You're a murderer.
We didn't have a choice.
There is always a choice.
In the final episode, You Found Me, A-Train confronts Huey and Starlight with the drug coursing through his veins. For his fellow team member, this is a sequence where she embraces the role of the superhero. For A-Train, it's the chance for him to maybe, just maybe, repent for some of the things he's done.
I didn't kill her. it.
In the series' final moments with the character, it seems there's a glimmer of hope for A-Train. He finally admits that he killed Charlotte, not Huey, not the boys, no one else. For the first time in the series, he takes some responsibility for his power, and then that light very quickly goes out.
But it was your fault.
It is this choice that seals his fate. Moments later, we see the karmic payoff to everything A-Train has done when he collapses. His bad deeds and the lies he tells himself all catch up to him as he loses consciousness. What does this mean for A-Train's future? We know that A-Train and Starlight are both continuing to serve on the Seven for the time being, implying that he has kept quiet about the events that transpired at the end of Season 1. A-Train might be able to spill the beans and oust Annie from the Seven, sure, but that would likely mean Annie would destroy his reputation and potentially go public with his drug abuse and health problems. We could see these two in an epic catch-22 as the series goes on. Either way, I'm excited to see this rivalry continue. I still think A-Train has a chance to do the right thing, and there's no doubt in my mind that his health woes at the end of the final episode will irrevocably shape his outlook going into Season 2. Whether that means he will finally take some responsibility for his misgivings, or further plunge into depravity as he tries, and often fails, to cover his tracks, this remains to be seen. But I think we can all count on the fact that he will continue to be one of the show's most interesting and multifaceted characters.